What's good, family? It is your boy LoAmmi Richardson here. Listen, if you have ever accomplished goals and then felt stuck once you reach the mountaintop, then this presentation is for you. This presentation is entitled What Happens After the Win. Listen, you set goals for yourself, you have a vision board, you have done all of the planning, you've executed, you've reached that place where you finally accomplished the thing that you said you was going to accomplish, or get the thing that you said you was going to get, or do the thing that you said you was going to do. And now there's this hollow feeling of what's next. So this presentation is going to help you how you can move forward when you're not sure what comes next. All right. So we're going to dive into some principles, and this is going to be for any working professional, anyone who's an entrepreneur who is looking to really find fulfillment in the work and the accomplishments in their lives. So a little bit about myself as someone who has been traveling around the world, who has helped clients unlock their purpose. I realized that the majority of people do not really understand what purpose is or what their purpose is. Now, the real definition of purpose, right, it's simply the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. So when I mentioned the word purpose and I ask, what is your purpose? Essentially, all I'm asking is, do you understand the reason why you've been created? And do you understand why you exist? And many people feel like the reason why they exist is to accomplish things and to share those accomplishments. And then they think they can find fulfillment just by simply doing things. But the reality is, purpose is something internal. Once we understand what we have been created to be, what we have created to for the reason why we exist, then life becomes far more easier to grapple with the difficulties of life. So understanding your purpose is the first step of truly unlocking a life full of happiness and fulfillment. So I want you to understand that success doesn't always equal fulfillment. I'm going to pause for effect. Many people feel that if I have X amount of money, if I marry the right person, if I have the right car, if I have the right titles or the certain amount of degrees, that success will then allow me to feel fulfilled and happy. But then what happens when that thing is accomplished? I can tell you from personal experience, when I graduated college, me being the first person in my family to graduate college with my bachelor's degree and now finishing my master's, I realized that when I fulfilled this great accomplishment, right, broke these generational curses that no one in my family and my childhood friends who saw me as someone who didn't really succeed academically, I pushed past all these boundaries and all of these negative thoughts, right, to finally accomplish something that it was something meaningful to me, right? So much so that I have put my degree on a plaque. Most people just have it underneath their desk, right? Levering out their desk and using that as a prop. But for me, my degree meant something. But it was interesting once I accomplished this thing and I did not receive the recognition that I thought I would receive. I realized that I was doing things for others and not doing things for myself. Now, understand that me getting that degree was ultimately fulfilling a greater purpose in my life, but the success in of itself did not allow me to feel fulfilled. So if you felt that way before, what do you do with that feeling? You see, so often we have kind of shared this narrative of our mindset being the reason why we're not achieving certain goals in our life, right? If you have the right attitude, if you demonstrate the correct behavior, if you take action to those goals, then you will have success. But the problem with that is that many people do have the right attitude. Many people are structuring themselves and behaving accordingly and doing the action steps necessary and achieving those successes. But the reality is, this is the cycle that many people go through, right? It's the cycle of achievement. It's okay, first I set the goal, then I achieve the goal, I celebrate the goal that I obtained, and then I repeat this cycle. And as long as we're in this cycle, we're never going to fully understand the reason why we're doing these things and to find the fulfillment that you and I are longing to receive once we accomplish these milestones. Now, One of my favorite athletes, right, Olympian, is Michael Phelps. And researching his story and seeing how much he's trained, the diet plan that he has, that he has to fuel his body in order for him to be the best Olympian that we've ever seen. I want you to notice something that he said after he said he's works 4 years. Right, all of the training, all of the practices, all of the countless nights that he did not sleep, right, training for an event at the Olympics, right? And once he achieved that goal, there was this hollow feeling. And so, what happens when one of the most famous Olympians and most winning, one of the most winning Olympians of all time says, "Listen, my whole identity, my whole purpose, my whole training was to accomplish and win the gold medal." But I want you to notice something that he says in an interview a few years back, as he described his feeling after accomplishing
2004.
all of these great feats in his life. Check this out.
Taste of post-Olympic depression. Coming off such a high, and it's basically you get to like the edge of the cliff, and you're like, cool, now what? Oh, I guess I got to wait 4 more years to have the chance to do it again, right? So, and for those who don't have a successful Olympics, those 4 years can feel like an absolute eternity. So for me, 2004 is my first, 2008 was my second taste of post-Olympic depression. Because coming off of that high after doing something you set out to do your whole entire life. Right? Like my goal was to do something no one else had ever done before.
Did you know it was depression, or did you just think I'm feeling a little off?
I think at that point, I'll say as a male athlete, I could tell something was off. But I think I saw it as a sign of weakness, and if I shared anything about it, then it would give my competitors an edge. And I'm not trying to do that, right? Like, I don't want to give my competitors an edge. I'm trying to be better than anybody, period, has ever been. So for me, I looked at it as weakness. So for me, I had to learn that vulnerability is a good thing. And it was scary at first, but I learned that vulnerability just means change. And for me, it was a great change.
Thanks for watching.
So you can see here that as Michael Phelps is sharing his story, he says, listen, for 4 years, I'm focused on achieving this goal. And then once he achieved it, he said it left him depressed, right? And many of us may be suffering with some mental health issues, whether it be anxiety and depression. But the principle that we can gather from what Michael Phelps was sharing was that he was focused so much on achieving a goal, and then once he achieved it, he literally asked the question, okay, what's next? What is the next thing that I have to do? Because there's this hollow feeling that I feel after achieving something that most people will die to achieve, right? And die to receive. And so as we kind of look at the example left by Michael Phelps, many of us have felt this feeling of lack of fulfillment even after we have achieved the things that we have achieved. So this is what we call, or what I call, the achievement paradox, right? Because at the end of the day, winning can leave us feeling lost. So what happens is we see that there's this excitement that takes place, right? We write down the goal that we want to achieve. We put it on our vision board, right? The things that we want to accomplish, all of the goals and all of the aspirations that we have. And then once we achieve it, we get that dopamine hit. But as soon as that achievement is accomplished, that thrill fades, right? Then at that point, we start sensing this loss of purpose, right? We tie in our identity to the outcome, the success and the failures of the things that we're trying to achieve. And then finally, when we have arrived, right, and we've gotten to that mountaintop experience, we have this arrival fallacy. It was like, well, this is cool that I graduated college. It's cool that I got this internship. It's cool that I've, got this promotion, but I'll be happy when I hit 6 figures. I'll be happy when I get X, Y, and Z, right? And so what happens is that we continue to follow this achievement paradox because we're chasing dopamine. Then once we tie in our identity to the wins and losses through that experience, our identity then is tied into the outcome. And then we continue to pursue something and we tell ourselves that if we achieve this, then I will be happy when this happens, right? But we've understood that purpose is understanding what you've been created for and the reason why you exist. So, have you ever felt empty after a major success? I know I have. And if that's your feeling, then I want to if you ever experienced that, then I want to share some principles with you in this presentation that I think will help you better align yourself as you are validating the things that you are looking to achieve. So, I want you to understand the difference between success and significance. Success simply means the things that you have done, the accomplishments, right? I got a promotion, I got my degree, I married this person, whatever, right? The things that you have achieved is what you would call success. But many people are chasing success, but in reality, what we need to be chasing is significance. There's a difference. Success is what you have done, significance is who you've impacted. This is the key to unlocking a life full of meaning, happiness, joy, and fulfillment, right? Is saying, okay, these accomplishments, these successes that I'm having is for the purpose of impacting those who are around me and the people that I am influencing. Are you following so far? So all of us in some aspect are influencers. People are watching the things that you're doing, the way that you're living, and the things that you are set out to accomplish, right? So many people hone in on the success. Well, look how much money I have. Look at the type of car that I drive. Look at the house that I live in. Look at the job that I have, right? Look at the activities and the leisure and the experiences that I've had. And we label those things as success and saying, oh man, this person is happy because he's so successful or because she's so successful. When in reality, meaning and fulfillment comes from the significance and the impact that you make on those you come across, the impact that you come across as you meet the people in your lives, right? So we want to kind of shift from chasing approval to living your purpose. I want you to understand that it is less about being impressive and more about being intentional. So for me, all of the things that I have achieved in my life, as other people may deem it as success, for me, I am chasing significance because I want to be able to encourage other youth, right? Like myself, as I grew up, didn't have as I kind of grew up as a young person, I didn't have the mentorship or the opportunities for me to really set forth a path of success, for me to truly live a life of significance and success. And so as I've achieved these things, I go back now and I want to leave a lasting impact. I want to be significant to the young people that I mentor and to the community that I serve. It could be at your workplace, it could be at church, it could be wherever setting that you have been placed in. You want to stop focusing on success and start focusing on significance. Because just recently, as I finished my master's degree and I graduated, majority of the applause that I received in that arena came from students that I mentored and that I was coaching. Right. And I want to allow them to understand that the success of finishing my master's degree, it's significant to me because now I can inspire them to say, just as Mr. Lowe was able to do it, you can do it as well. Are you following so far? So we want to kind of redefine what winning is, right? You want to make goals that are meaningful and not just simply measurable. So for example, if you are a parent, one of the measurable goals, right, that would be meaningful is saying, I want to be more patient with my kids. How can I learn to make a positive impact in my kid's life that I'm not snapping on this kid every other second, but I want to grow more patient with my kid, to understand where my kid is coming from, to feel what he's feeling, to give advice and counsel in the areas that I have not been able to receive. I want to be able to give that to my child, right? Or it could be, I want to be able to mentor one student this semester, or I can be able to make an influence and utilize the gifts and the talents and the successes of my life to help those that are around me, right? So I want you to kind of utilize the purpose filter, and you then want to ask the question, does this goal, whatever goal that you are setting up for yourself, does it align with who you are becoming? Now, in order to understand your purpose, there are 3 steps to move towards significance. Number 1, you want to align your goals with your core values. Who are you at the end of the day? What are the values that you possess as a human being, right? What are the morals? What are the values? What are the outlooks of life that shapes you to who you are? And are your goals aligned to those core values? The second thing that I want you to do is to really embrace lifetime growth. So often we are chasing success that we're losing ourselves and in trying to achieve the goals that we set out for ourselves. But the truth of the matter is, once we kind of pause and reflect and realize and ask ourselves the question, what am I becoming and who am I impacting? What significance am I leaving behind in my influence at work, at church, in my community, wherever the setting may be? You want to make sure that you're investing in yourself, right? It's not just simply having a good diet and exercising, right? And having mental clarity. Those things are important, but it's more an investing of knowing who you are, right? What are my triggers? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And sometimes it's going to have to take a little bit of resource in order for you to truly invest in yourself. So for me, I understood the value of therapy. I understood of the value of workshops. I understood of the value of joining communities of like-minded people that would help me grow into the person that I want to become. But then the third step to moving towards significance is that I want you to practice intentional impact. One of the things that I have set out for myself is to say, how can I make a difference in someone's life today? And it doesn't have to be this radical thing that you do. It can just simply giving an encouraging word. It can simply giving an advice to someone who needed it, right? It can be a simple smile, but you want to be intentional in who you are impacting. So those are the three steps that you want to move forward if you want to make a significance and change from achieving to change it and changing that mindset to who I am impacting. So step number one, we want to align our goals with our core values. Understand that your values is simply the compass of how you operate, how you think, and how you make decisions. Your goals is the destination. Are you following? So your values is make up who you are, how you operate, how you react to various situations in life, but your goals is the destination in which you are heading. So you want to ask yourself, do your current goals reflect these values? That is step number one. Step number two, you want to embrace lifelong growth. So again, understand that your significance, right? The investment that you make in yourself, right, is going to help you become much more significant in whatever area that you are in. So remember that growth isn't a one-time project. So ask yourself these simple questions. What areas in my life needs to be reinvested? Is it my mental health? Is it the relationships that I'm in? Is it my faith? Is it my leadership skills, right? Understand that every season brings fresh layer of purpose, and I need you to lean into that, right? Understand that your life is one of continuous growth. You should not be the same person today that you were 3 weeks ago. You should be constantly evolving and becoming the person that you know you've been called to be, because we are trying to unlock what purpose is. Step number three, you want to have intentional impact. Number one, service. I want you to volunteer somewhere where you feel invincible. The reason why I say this is because as someone who has traveled the world sharing and speaking and doing workshops and speaking at conferences and youth events, etc., it's so easy for me to come in as the celebrity guest speaker, right? Everybody treats you right. Do you need water? Here's what you need. Is there anything that you can help with, right? I feel like I'm the most important person in the room. But when I go volunteer at places that no one knows who I am, it allows me to, right, to really shine the brightest. It allows me to say, you know what? It's not about me right now. It's about those who I'm here to serve. I'm here to be able to impact and be a blessing to those that I come across, right? So now my light is shining through service to those who I am in contact with. The second thing, and this is so important, I don't think we value it enough, is I really want you to hone in on having a coach and having mentorship. I cannot express to you enough how much I have invested my time and my resources in providing real tangible mentorship as well as community. I want you to pour, and this is the reason why this is important, is because as you get a mentor and you see how your mentor responds to you and encourages you and gives you the principles necessary for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life, or whatever the reason you're allowing that mentor to mentor you, is that as you're being poured into, now you're learning how to pour into someone else. And you usually want to focus on someone who is one step behind. So often we kind of get confused and saying, well, I don't have 1 million followers. I don't have X amount of money. I'm not driving the most luxurious car. But at the end of the day, you know that you have achieved certain things, and all you have to do is help somebody who is a step behind. So as someone who has this master's degree, guess who I can help? I can help students who achieve their bachelor's degree, and I can help them, show them how to use the proper tools for them to be successful to achieve their master's degree. Are you following? So you want to say, okay, where am I at in my career? Where am I at in my life that I can just help people that is a step behind me to allow them to learn how to get to where I am at currently? Because at the end of the day, legacy begins with one life at a time, right? When it's all said and done, your arbitrary, when it's all said and done, and you and I share our last breath here on earth, no one's going to remember the degrees that you've had, the cars that you drove. People are going to remember how you felt, how you made them feel, and the impact that you made in your life. This is why I've been emphasizing that we need to shift from success and lean into significance. But thirdly, I want you to take the time for personal development. I want you to invest in your wholeness, through therapy, through journaling, through spiritual disciples, through life coaching. I did it for myself, and I've realized the fruits that came from that investment of constantly wanting to improve and become the best version of myself, because I understand what my purpose is. I understand my significance. I understand why I have been placed on this earth to do, to achieve, and more importantly, who I have been called to impact, right? So think about this for a second. What's the one small action that you can take this week, right, to move forward towards significance and not just success? Who can I impact? Who can I mentor? Who can I serve? And more importantly, am I taking the time to really invest in me? So this is some time that I need you to reflect, right? I want you to ask the question, who am I without my achievements? When you remove all of the things that you have succeeded in and all the goals that you have achieved, what are you without those things? Who am I without my car? Who am I without my job? Who am I without the money that I make? Who am I without these degrees, right? Who am I when it's all said and done? And then the second question you want to ask is, what does fulfillment look like beyond productivity? So often we are working towards the goals that we want to achieve. Sometimes we even do a lot of busy work to avoid working on ourselves so we can be the best version of ourselves. So ask yourself that question. What does fulfillment look like beyond productivity? What does fulfillment look like once I achieve this goal that I set out for myself to achieve? So just a little bit about myself, right? The reason why I shared this, the reason why I did this workshop, and the reason why I'm giving this presentation, is because I grew up in an environment where school wasn't important to me. I joked around in school. I got into a lot of fights. I got into a lot of trouble, got kicked out out of public school with a 0.68 GPA. But through understanding what I've been, it took me a while for me to understand the who I was, number one, but most importantly, who I was becoming. And once I came to this paradox, right? Once I came to this crossroads in my life, I had one or two choices. I can either lean into significance and start changing the things that I needed to change in order for me to live a life that is full of meaning, purpose, and happiness, or I can continue doing what I have been doing and not end up living a life full of fulfillment. But my experience from high school to now allowed me to achieve things that I never thought imaginable. I was able to be the first person in my family to graduate college, right, with a degree. And as a result, I was able then to inspire a whole generation of young people who grew up in the same environment and had the same situations as me, now they can see me and say, well, if Mr. Richardson, if Mr. Lo can do it, I know I can do it as well. That is why it is so important for us to understand our purpose. But listen, all of my experiences that I've went through from a teenager to now as a full-grown adult, I was able to create a book that allowed me to share the 10 pivotal moments of my life and the lessons that I've learned through that experience. And I entitled the book, I Am is Greater Than I Was, from identity lost, right? Who I was, to purpose and to purpose found, what I've been created to be. And this is just a small picture of the impact of my book and the experiences that I went through, and how my success of being a published author allowed me to live out a life full of significance, where young people, right, in inner city communities were able to be inspired by the fact that they don't have to be an athlete. They don't have to be an entertainer. They can be an author and be successful and have significance in their life. And that is what brings me joy and happiness. So as we wrap up this presentation, I love this quote by John C. Maxwell. He says the following: success is when I add value to myself, but significance is when I add value to others. And once you taste significance, success will never satisfy. So my question to you is this: are you searching for success, or are you searching for significance? Are you chasing goals, or are you truly chasing impact? Listen, I didn't want to conclude this presentation without first giving you a free offer. In the link below, you will find a worksheet that is connected to the very presentation that you just finished watching, to help you unlock the tools necessary for you to live a life full of impact and significance. And I hope that if you found this video valuable, go ahead and like this video and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, it is your boy LoAmmi Richardson. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope that this information was valuable and that you can apply these things in your life so you can live a life full of significance and impact. Until the next time, peace.